There's always something.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado,
no more.
Maybe one or two.
Let's get it started.
Uh-oh. Happy.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. You're happy.
Happy.
Yeah. There we go.
yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. All right, you guys want to welcome everybody, especially say hi to our chat room. You know we have
chat room.
to recognize.
TMC in the house.
That's
Hey,
right. We got them all in
Mac happening. What's going on? I don't see Norman though.
Well,
I'm sure he's soon come.
Norman said I had something to do.
That's right.
We're not used to that though.
Yeah, where are you,
We're used to
Norman?
him hanging out with us. But then it is a Monday night. He's more True Blue on Tuesday night.
And sometimes it feels different. So welcome everybody, because this is one of those nights where we're doing 3 shows in a row. We want to welcome everybody. Part 1 is Create Your Label. Part 2 will be New Sports. And Part 3 will be Hot Picks. And so we think that we got some great programming for you today. Remember, of course, everything is available upon syndication. So we expect to be sending things out to YouTube. It'll be at our own site. We've been newly reorganized. Even DeVoe came in talking about the new reorganization of the PackStereo.tv site.
You know, if I say something about it.
Well, you theoretically, you can go there and find the broadcast players for your favorite shows, see the latest information, and then replay the past archive episodes if you want to. So hopefully you'll enjoy. So go take a look. Send us some feedback. So everybody, welcome to Create Your Label. It's really the long name of the show is Create Your Label and Personal Internet Television Channel. And that's because as time has gone on, we've had to sort of spread things around because of all the topics and the change in things. Now internet television, having an internet television channel, we think is part of any independent record label.
Right.
And so, of course, we do that differently. But let me tell you about today's show. One of the emerging trends that's occurring right now is the ability to do broadcasts from home. Recently, more than a couple of our friends have used different sites to do live concerts from home. And there's a bunch of different ones. I can't remember the one that Aisha used. But most of them involve ways for you to send out announcements, and then you do a show. Some of the newer features is that they allow people to contribute or tip you during the show. Yeah, give you money. That's right. They can tip you
Money.
and actually give you money. You know, when you do the show. Right. I can't remember
that
the one.
Be really popular,
the one that Aisha did.
Sites,
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
There's a couple of them. Okay, there's a bunch of sites, and so now the point being, so more and more people are broadcasting self. Part of what we do here at Pack Stereo, we told you, is that we are specialists in desktop presentation. In other words, one of the things we're constantly showing you is our desktop. Like Dick, let them see like this. Create Your Label. See, so we make desktops like this, and our whole thing is to use this live on the air. In fact, that's the whole basis of what we do with internet broadcasting with radio station software. We broadcast, we make the computer play the broadcast, and then we take that screen and send it out to everybody. So that's one of the reasons that you get to see this. Now, with everybody mixing themselves all the time now, one of the big issues that we're running into is really bad audio. Really bad audio. Now, and in today's world, there's no need for really bad audio.
Okay.
One of the things you got to recognize is that if you could just get the recording into the computer clean, then later on you could play with it to your heart's content. Because once the recording is into the computer, everything you do after that point is what they call non-destructive. You don't actually change the file. Right. It's a series of commands that tell it to do these things to the file, but the original is always left unchanged. So getting a clean recording into the computer today is essential. And so because of these recent broadcasts of some of our associates who have been, doing shows where they're singing, they're doing things, they're trying to, and really bad audio. And one of the main mistakes that you can tell, obviously, is that they're not using a mixer.
One delivery and that's it.
And people say, well, why do you have to use a mixer? Well, I'm about to tell you. But first of all, let me start with the premise. A miniature mixer, what we call a mini mixer, is mandatory.
But then how much does that cost?
Under $40.
Ooh. Okay.
Not bad, huh? Take a look at this mixer. Take a look at the one I have right
Perfect
here.
lead in.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, this mixer right here. This is the ZMX, the Alto ZMX 52. I guess I should have looked up the price beforehand, but let's Google it right now.
Wait, you bought
You
it and
didn't
you
buy
don't
it?
know?
Yeah, I bought
It's
from.
all confused here.
No, I bought it. I just don't remember the exact price because I bought two of them.
You know what? You know they're having fun with you. Dude.
Yeah, I bought two of them. Take a look. Now this
you don't know
particular
how
model, right now is
Mario,
on sale for
funny, you don't even know
$49.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but the other one I have is under $49. Okay, but my point being, there's a bunch of mixers out there, you guys, for under $40. There are. And it's absolutely essential that you use when you do your broadcast. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to tell you here is that you got to buy a miniature mixer. They all come with kind of the same feature set here. Most of them allow you to hook up a microphone. They have XLR inputs. They have other inputs.
Okay, so you need cords and stuff to work with that too. So
You're-
the 40 doesn't stop there.
Yeah, and the cords you're going to need, and some plugs, but we're talking anywhere in the range. If you buy the stuff off from Amazon, we're talking stuff in the range of, $3 to $7. For example,
that's still pretty good. Okay.
in other words, for those of
Forgetting
you,
who Mario is.
well, yeah, for those of you who use earbuds, you need an adapter to take the mini plug
That's right.
to the bigger 1/4-inch plug.
And that's only $2 or $3?
Those are like, depending if you order them online, they're about $3.
Okay.
Okay. Additionally, you need this cable. This cable, and I'll
Looks
show you
like
what it
I have
looks
that
like.
cable. That's the cable goes to the television?
Well, it goes to
Yeah.
whatever you happen to hook it to.
Okay.
Remember now, the cables are actually kind of generic, and what you're learning is what to get to hook anything to anything.
Oh, okay.
Here's the mini plug, right? Here's the mini plug.
Okay,
right? That
yeah.
could go into your phone,
Right.
and if you wanted to
Well,
run
maybe
your
not my
phone
phone.
into this mixer, you would buy one of these plugs that has a mini plug on one end.
And it has the
Two
other
phono
plug
plugs on the other end.
And what do you
Right.
call that? Do it all?
They all the cables are actually named by what they connect to. Okay.
And while you're doing that, there's a question by Mac. Mac said, "Can you use Ning as your mixer when you upload?" That probably is an obvious answer, but I wanted you to
Can you use
Ning as your mixer. Because
here's the
fit-
problem. Here's the
features.
problem. All of those things don't work well.
They sure don't.
Okay, and they're not. To me, a lot of these things you're making it really hard on yourself. Where the easy way, the simplest way,
And that's the way we
the
want to do
simplest
it,
way,
Mario.
and also the way that behooves you for the most in time, is to learn how to use a mini mixer.
that little thing you just
Because
showed
it's a
us.
lifetime skill. Right, and to go on and get the collections. One thing good about these little mixers too, you can put it in your bag.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
You can take it
then
wherever
where
you
am I-
go.
And,
Yeah.
and where could I use it? Could I?
Well, let me give you an example.
Take it in.
This mixer has 5 inputs. Okay? That means you could actually be mixing 5 different things. You could have one mic, and again, not just any mic, because it has the standard connectors, you could use the same microphones that you're used to here.
So I could take that to the poetry house when I do my stuff and hook up some music
Right. Now let me
And
tell you,
record
remember
it
and to have my own mic and run that through
Right.
the
And it'll
soundboard that's
sound
already
better.
there.
Right, because
it'll
this
sound better?
Right, these have audio outs that go to whatever.
Yes.
and you can
Speaker.
pass that to a speaker or to some person.
So I don't even have to ask him anything. I could have all
Well-
my stuff hooked up to that and just give him a cord and tell here, hook this
Except
up.
that then that puts you in charge of the mix.
That's right.
Okay.
DeVoe wanted to be in charge.
Well, that's what. Now let me get back to the whole point of
DeVoe
using
knows
this.
chords.
Let me give you back to the now. Well, this is the part of the practice, and Jesse has to do this, and actually, so our folks need to do this. But let me tell you why you have to use this. Because in order to do a good recording, you have to learn how to listen to yourself while you record. That is the absolute key. In other words, you're going to learn to listen to yourself while you record. then after you've done the recording, you could do all these different processing things that'll correct it automatically for you, do little things. It doesn't work miracles, but it helps. But if you're not listening to yourself while you're recording, you're already at a handicap. Right. It's like we talk here when we have Jesse and DeVoe. One of the things, even those you who tuned in before the show heard me talking to them about getting used to talking in the mic and listening to yourself. Like, listen to as I get closer. What they call the proximity effect is that the voice automatically gets deeper the closer you get to the microphone.
Right.
Okay, so these are things you learn to use, but you will never learn any of them if you're not using a mixer to mix yourself.
And you're using Ning.
Right. Well, I'm just saying. Now remember, Mac is doing a different thing. Mac is using old realistic Radio Shack mixer, and remember, Vic and I will tell you, most of us of our age and generation
have used them.
We all used. That was my mainstay mixer for damn near 20 years.
Radio Shack, baby.
20 years, damn near. From the time I started till I was well into.
Does that mean that's a good brand?
They
or
just
bad?
Well, at the time you didn't have a bunch of choices, but they were the best mixers for DJs to have at the house because it had like 3 mic inputs.
Right.
Well, they were ahead.
Turntable, 2 turntables, and 2 line inputs. So you could have 2 turntables and 2 decks. You know, you could do some stuff.
That's right.
Now, the same principle applies here, but so you got to hear yourself. Now, what you really are going to do is run the audio outs of this into your computer. But the point being is every time you're recording, you're going to be listening to yourself. So you'll hear what the computer is getting. Okay? All right? Now, in the future on Create Your Label, we're going to demonstrate some of these things in more detail. Okay? But we want to at least get this idea into your head.
So the next time I come, can I bring my mic and cord and we can hook it up?
To test
We can attempt to, but one of the first things you'll find out is you'll become aware of what the connections you are necessary.
Right.
Okay.
And some of you, like for example, your mics may have different types of cords. One thing about getting one of these inexpensive miniature mixers is that they have usually every type of input, just not a bunch of them. Like they have one input for the mic, that's an XLR.
Right.
Then they have
XLR,
some other inputs. See, so and what you'll quickly learn is that the bigger mixers are just duplicates of this.
Right. That's what it looks like.
Just multiples of this. So instead of having 5 inputs, over here I have 22 on one board, and I have 16 on my other board. Okay, but so we're going to talk about using this. So this way, no matter what you're doing, like when Jesse starts to record her voiceovers.
This is for you, Jesse.
Now, here's the thing. Some people will say, Vic, they'll say, well, can I just hook the mic to the computer and plug my headset into the computer? The answer to that, and the short answer is yes. The long answer is way more difficult.
You
way
outgrow
more.
it. You outgrow it real fast.
Even if you use a USB mic, the problem is, whenever you use the computer as the mixer, you have to be able to go into a bunch of the computer settings and turn them back and forth.
Manually.
For a bunch of you, that's going to be a pain in the ass.
Every time your computer shut down, on or off.
That would be me.
Right. So, and see let me give you an example, because it tends to create a feedback. So most of the time, most people who use computers to record do what I do. You do everything on a mixing board, and then you run that mixing board into the computer and use the computer like any recording device.
Right.
Like anything that you're using to
Mac
record.
has a question.
Okay, Mac. I mean, you got to, I can't see it. He's not here.
Okay, Mac, ask your question. Why are you not talking?
Wait a minute. Did you just get a blind block? Wait a minute.
We can't hear you.
Mac has a question. Everybody stopped and waited for Mac to speak. Come out the air.
Oh, I would have loved that.
Mac's
That'd have
the
been
voice
cool.
to come out the
I
air.
actually did not have a block.
Okay, you can read it if you
Okay, he
like.
says when
Now,
I do my show, have to use 2 tracks, 1 voice, 1 music, then remix them to the show. Did that make sense?
Well,
No, you know what? Oh, I'm glad you guys. Okay, and I hope. You guys, allow me please to pursue this for a minute, because I've been meaning to ask this. I have to admit, I'm sorry. I've been meaning to ask Mac how he does his show, because Mac's show has really good audio. He only has one issue ever to me with his. Well, sometimes the voice is different. The other time,
But
sometimes
it always sounds good.
Well, yeah. The only other thing he has is that sometimes the songs are at different levels.
Right.
So one is a lot louder than the other one.
Right.
But the software could correct that. So Mac, say that Mac. Let me read with Mac. How does he say it? He does it again.
He says, okay, you have to go back up a little bit.
And here it is.
Mac, you need a call.
When I do my show, have to use 2 tracks, 1 voice, 1 music, then remix them
Yeah.
to
Now,
the show.
That's
but
normal.
Mac, aren't some of the tracks actually stereo? So it's more than 2 tracks. Like, isn't that's a stereo music track?
He's doing it mono, right?
No, it's not mono.
He's not doing it mono?
No, it's not mono.
Okay.
Tell us, Mac, what you doing?
It's not.
Mac?
And you notice PMC is totally hip to this.
Yeah, I
because
see him.
PMC deals with this every day too.
Yeah, he's over there.
PMC
rolling on what
totally
he
does
with
this.
his little mini mixer.
No stereo. Okay.
No stereo.
No
I mean,
stereo.
So you're making a mono
Yep.
mix.
Yep.
And then, well, what happens is, remember, stereo, you have to, guys, first of all, you have to remember, stereo is a simulated effect. So you actually can play dual mono, and in a lot of ways, it'll
It's
still
stereo.
work. Well, there's a difference, but we'll not get it. So no, in order for Mac, Mac, let me ask you another question, Mac. So Mac's show, he has a series of tracks, and in between he goes to a backbeat with talking. So Mac, you assemble everything, so you don't do it as one live thing like we're doing. You assemble it, right? Piece by piece, right?
He corrected it. He says, nope, I mean I use stereo mix.
Okay, I was about to say it sounded stereo.
Right.
Okay, now Mac, and you assemble your stuff, because now everybody, while he's getting these answers together, this is Mac McAllister, the GNN bureau chief. He is the director, producer, host of Online with Mac, Retro Jazz and Blues, the #1 retro jazz and blues show. Okay?
He is amazing.
And it's a wonderful show. I listen to it every week, okay? Every week, okay? So I'm just curious. So, Mac, did you assemble it? Yeah, so Mac assembles his piece to piece. Now, Mac, I assume you assemble it using Mixcraft, right? And it's probably Mixcraft, which is the same software that we just installed on Jesse's computer.
Yeah, he had already alluded that he uses Mixcraft.
Okay, all right. So now Mac wants to have a show too in the future, where people are in the chat room while he's doing that. And remember, that's totally possible.
Yeah.
He just has to learn to use that live stream Procaster, so that it'll be broadcasting his computer screen.
Right.
In other words, he'll be desktop presenting. Mac will be broadcasting his computer screen
Right.
while he does his show.
There you go.
Awesome.
Okay, so remember, you guys. So Mac, we can look at that. That's why Mac's quality on his show is so good. One of the things I told Mac that he could do, that he has to just find it in his software, the whole thing of leveling the volumes. Once you put his whole show into the Mixcraft, he can tell Mixcraft level it.
That's
Oh,
right.
right.
Equal. It's like an equalizer.
They have all the
Wow,
radio
that's very
compressions
cool.
built into that. So he has all the radio compressions, and he can just try different compressions over the whole track. But it's all built into there, and it's also non-destructive.
yeah.
By that I mean, remember, it doesn't affect the original file. You can always undo it.
Right. Okay.
It
that's
never. That's what
important.
non-destructive editing
That's
means.
the good part about it.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to come back to this again next week and take up with it on a different level. Remember, this is the first of probably 3 parts, all about learning to mix yourself. Remember, we told you, do yourself a favor. Go buy a mini mixer. I don't have a lot of biases. Behringer has another one that's also very good for like $28.
Yeah.
Okay,
$28. What's their name?
Behringer.
I may have to get
In other
that
words,
one.
there's a bunch of mixers. There's a bunch of these. Okay, there's a bunch of these mixers at Musicians Friends, at Amazon. Amazon is one of my favorite places to shop. But there's a bunch of them
Do they
little
get
mixers.
cheaper than 28 on Amazon?
I'm not sure. There are cheaper mixers, but I'm not sure you want cheaper.
Okay.
Don't
well,
get the cheapest.
Barrington.
In other
that
words,
was the
I
good
would
one,
say,
right?
here's the thing I would tell you, DeVoe. You actually might want to get one that's a little more expensive. Why? Because
Why?
this one has just one mic input.
That's
Right?
it. You want more.
What if you had some of your friends over and they wanted to plug up their mics?
They need to bring their mini mixer with them.
And you can and you can cascade the mixer from mixer to mixer.
then
Well-
you turn into now you're actually mixing
Like
the
a
sound.
studio
You still
where
have
you
to
do
do.
that.
Well, I'm just saying, if you were to get one with 4 mic inputs, it might be $70.
Oh, I see double.
That's why I
Way
say
worth
so.
it.
So you may think it's worth it to get the bigger one.
Prudent is coming
I
out
was
of me.
thinking about the other day.
I like PMC says his mini Behringer cost him $59. Now you guys require
Oh,
men to
really?
pay more
And how
on a
many
date.
outlets?
Isn't that true?
Well, for example, here's one by the same people, right? The same people make this cheapy one.
Right.
Okay, here's one with 4 mic inputs for $49.
Yeah.
What page are you on? Let's see.
What do you mean what page am I on? These are not, you guys.
Pull that
Okay,
up
you guys.
right
Okay,
quick.
one thing. Everybody relax.
No, go ahead.
Good music buys. You'll always get the
Oh,
info
it's
from
worth
me.
it.
You don't have to rush and write it down. We
Yeah.
always know how to get the music buys.
Yes, all
I can always show you
Yeah.
the cheapest way to do anything.
Yes, he can.
I pride myself on that.
Yeah.
I pride myself. I come from a group of guys who never brought software. They used to hack everything.
That's right.
I'm serious. They waited
the
for it to
world.
come out.
Group of guys.
It would come out. The software would come out at midnight, and they'd have it hacked before morning. They'd have a hack party.
Yep.
They'd have
Those
a
were your
party.
friends.
Yeah, they would get together and hack it.
Disclaimer.
Wow.
Over
But look-
pizza.
Look at that, Mara. That has 4. Yes, I would get that.
Yeah,
Of
and
course I
then
would
it's
get
well.
that.
What I'm trying to say, remember now, and remember. Here's the thing I told you, because I'm really into this. Life skills. How often do you guys hear me say that? Life
All
skills.
the time.
In other words, learning how to work this mixer, DeVoe, you'll use it the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Learning how to work a mixer ends
Oh.
up being a life skill because you end up doing the recording, and then when you get to the software, they try to emulate in the software all the features.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I just want to make sure that by next year, this isn't no dinosaur.
There's no.
No.
I'm just
No,
kidding.
no.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's a good one.
In the audio
That's
world,
serious.
old
That's cool.
equipment actually rules in a lot of ways. The only problem with old equipment was that it was bigger and heavier.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is true.
And it would work. I gave away a mixing board that was like 28 channels
Yep.
because 3 of the channels were shorting out. And I kind of finally got tired of it. But my buddy told me, says, I don't need that many channels.
I don't need 28.
I just
need
won't use
25.
those 3. Which one of those? You put a big thing of tape on it.
That's what I was thinking.
He said, I won't use those anymore. He said, he was happy as just grinning.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, yeah. So anyway, that's the point I wanted to make. In the future now, we're going to talk about how to mix yourself because one of the things that Jessie's got to do is produce her own audios.
Right.
Produce her own audios, do all that. And so these are all some of the things
That I need to know.
that you have to know.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
All day.
Okay, well, I'm going to get my skills. My
All right.
life skills.
All right. I'm Mario Hemsley, and this has been Create Your Label.
That's
Okay.
right. Now,
Get your mixer.
Get your mixer.
Now Mario has a what they call a transition where you guys stand up and go wiggle a little bit, so he
Get
can.
outta here.
Oh,
You better play the right music if he wants me to wiggle.
wait a
I
minute.
don't wiggle to
And and
nothing.
now here's the part that I always say: we plan these segments to go a certain amount of time, but you now know what happens. That the more information you get, it goes beyond the time, which is a good thing because you guys engage them in a way. And I know DeVoe, she actually knows and runs into what they call the audio blockage or the hurdles sometimes.
But here's the joke.
I know.
They
Watch it.
call me a sound man sometimes, or a sound woman. Something's wrong, and I'm at some production. Be like, DeVoe, come over here.
Blind
I'm
leading
like,
the blind.
DeVoe knows her chords.
That's
I do
wrong.
have some mics and cordless at home.
Hey, the key is that you have to do it anyway. Most of us who deal with music groups or bands, somebody just gets designated. The one with the best amount of knowledge usually gets forced to do it. And so you struggle through it. But one of the things we're dedicated to helping you, go on and get your miniature mixer. We're going to talk about how to do things better in the future. Okay? And again, thanks for all the questions. Mac with the wonderful questions about mixing online. Yeah, with
PMC's right there.
yeah, when you and remember too, when you do what you can totally mix within the computer. That's what Mac is doing with Mixcraft,
Right.
okay, and recording it in. I don't know what kind of a mic he's using, okay, but remember, still the miniature mixer offers you the best flexibility, and they are not expensive.
And you know what? And the good thing about it is, Mac knows how to work his mic. You can tell he's got the proximity
Oh, he's
down.
all into
So
yeah.
a lot of times people don't understand. You actually become one with your mic because you know your movement,
Right.
and you have to get used to that. It's like you're making love. I won't get into all the details, but it's like you're making love with the mic.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you for
that's
that.
very true. You have to know your proximity and where it sounds, because it does sound sexy when you're close and you're talking like this, opposed to talking like this.
Right, you hear the difference now. So
Yeah.
your ear becomes trained, and then when you want to get emphasis, you get close and get soft. Like, hey, I don't want to see
Why you stop chewing,
no
Devo?
blue panties.
Why are you recording me eating?
Wait a minute. Recording you eating? Wait a minute. That's wrong.
And we're going to be right
Mario.
back. We'll be right back with some new sports, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be right back.
Stay to end.